Before we even get started, let me go ahead and get this out of the way. I do not want Kellen Moore to be fired. My anger, my disappointment, my concern, it has nothing to do with the Saints starting the season 0-3. Hell, going into the season, I had zero expectations for this team. This is, without a doubt, the worst roster in the NFL, which is what happens when your general manager is a clueless fuckknuckle. The Saints have drafted poorly for years now. They have no quarterback. They have no number one option at wide receiver or tight end or on the offensive line or defensive line. And they damn sure have no number one option in the secondary. Kool-Aid McKinstry, he looks like a Kool-Aid dispenser. Everyone gets a refreshing drink on their way to the end zone. If the Saints won 4 games this season, which they would be lucky to do at this point, but if they won 4 games toward the end of the season, maybe 2 games in November and 2 wins in December, if they showed improvement, if we got to January and we knew whether we had the quarterback of the future on the roster or we didn't have the quarterback on the future on the roster, if we knew we had some foundational pieces in the starting lineup, I would consider that a successful season. Going into the season, one of the things I wasn't worried about was Kellen Moore. Matter of fact, I liked the hire. I thought this was a great decision by Mickey Loomis. But after 3 weeks, the roster is no longer my main concern. I'm starting to wonder if Kellen Moore has what it takes to be a leader of men. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the main channels in the description below. Last year, I would come on here in the second channel on most Sunday afternoons and I would bitch about my Saints. I haven't done that this year. Why? Because I had no expectations. The only thing I was excited about was watching this team develop. But after 3 weeks, all I have seen is mass regression. All I see is a team that does not respect their head coach. I see a team that doesn't think their head coach will hold them accountable. I see a team that doesn't fear consequences. The Saints have been penalized 31 times in 3 games, and that's just the penalties that were accepted. You could probably add another 5, 10, 15 that were declined. To make matters worse, a lot of these penalties are pre-snap penalties, which signals a complete lack of preparation. One of the CBS broadcasters made a comment yesterday. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was something to the effect of, the Saints have 4 pre-snap penalties halfway through the first quarter. The Seahawks have 2 pre-snap penalties all season. During the first quarter, the Saints defense gets off the field on 3rd down. At this point, game's tied 0-0. After the 3rd down play, Brian Brzee headbutts an offensive lineman from Seattle. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down, and with the Saints defense, automatic touchdown for the Seahawks. If Sean Payton was standing on the sidelines, Brian Brzee would have been publicly humiliated. Sean Payton would have grabbed his helmet while he chewed his ass. What did Kellen Moore do? Oh, shucks, that's too bad. Going into the season, my only concern with Kellen Moore was that he was a nice guy. You know that old saying, nice guys finish last? That is not hyperbole. Nice guys have a tendency to be taken advantage of. During training camp, Saints practices were starting a bit later than usual. Why? Kellen Moore likes to sleep in. I expect to hear something like that from my teenage daughter. When it comes to my NFL head coach, I don't want sleep in guy. I want the guy who's in the building at 5 a.m. I wake up 6 o'clock every morning. If I sleep late, I'm up at 6:30. No one is telling me to wake up. I don't have to be anywhere. Not like I have a job. But I wake up every morning on my own because it sets the tone. I don't have brain fog at 8 o'clock in the morning because I've already drank a full cup of coffee. I've been awake for 2 hours. We talked about this a few weeks ago with Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, Billy Napier at Florida. Nice guys who haven't set the tone. The first 3 weeks in New Orleans, I see a team that doesn't respect their head coach. They don't take Kellen Moore seriously. And maybe that's because Kellen Moore hasn't given them a reason to take him seriously. Over the weekend, Kellen Moore organized a boat trip for the Saints in Seattle. It's a team-building exercise. Come on, guys. We can all be sleepless in Seattle. Yippee! I guess the boat trip was preparing the team to get boat raced by the Seahawks. Kellen Moore is a horrible game manager, doesn't understand how to use timeouts. This dude was kicking a field goal right before halftime from the 3-yard line, down 32 points. The Saints are one of the most penalized teams in the league. There's constant confusion on offense. Special teams unit is a flaming ass fire. But I'm willing to give Kellen Moore the benefit of the doubt. New head coach, he's literally building this team from a pile of flaming ass ashes. I'm willing to believe that Kellen Moore is smart enough to figure things out. But here's the problem. Kellen Moore is not the main problem in New Orleans. If Kellen Moore is going to be the solution to the main problem, it is going to take a legendary effort because he is going to have to overcome the biggest problem in New Orleans: incompetent ownership, incompetent management. It's no coincidence that both the Saints and the Pelicans have a losing culture. It's no coincidence that both the Saints and the Pelicans have similar levels of incompetence. Gail Benson would rather have nice men. Gail Benson would rather have high character men than winners. Tom Benson wasn't the greatest owner, but Tom Benson, he wanted to win. Gail Benson only cares about making money. This is not a passion for her. Gail Benson doesn't care if the Saints are playoff contenders. She cares about having high character guys in the locker room who aren't going to publicly embarrass her and who she can view as family members. Look at the head coaches in New Orleans. Kellen Moore, Bill Green. Nice guys. During training camp, the Saints were playing paintball instead of practicing. They're taking community boat trips in Seattle. Kellen Moore likes to sleep late. Now, none of these things would matter if you're seeing positive results on the field. Now, notice, I did not say if you're winning. With this roster, no one expects Kellen Moore to win. He's not a magician. But you can't be undisciplined. You can't be incompetent. You can't be taking boat trips while committing more pre-snap penalties in 6 minutes than other teams have committed all season. You know, I'm getting to the point where I have a love-hate relationship with this team. I love my Saints. I have been following this team for over 30 years, but I cannot stand the organization, and I'm running out of patience. What happened yesterday, what's happened the first 3 weeks of this season, is unacceptable. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys on the main channel.